was it to leave Wisconsin in the end? And what kind of conversations? What were they like with the players if you got a chance to talk to them?
That was very difficult. Afterwards, and talking to Coach Rudolph, Coach Breckenfield, most of the coaches there, and just talked about how fun it was this past year, how everyone got along so well. I think when the staff is real tight and the staff is trusting of each other and open to each other, taking suggestions and kind of working off each other, I think that reflects with your team. And so we were very much that way. It was a closest, tight-knit group, And so that part was hard, man. It was a lot of fun. We'd be in the defensive staff rooms. I know we were talking about with Noakes and Durante and tips about, we'd have music going in, like Tuesdays would be country, right? Wednesdays, we might sprinkle in some Elvis music in there, some Elvis Presley, and get the King going. And so it was a lot of fun, watching tape and everything while the music's in the background. You're going to miss that. But then, in talking with Coach Chris, man, it was hard. I have a lot of respect for him. He's a great coach. He's a better person. He and his family treated my family great. And so anytime you break that stuff up, it's hard, So it was a difficult deal. I know that I'm glad that it's over with. It was hard to kind of go through.
I don't know if you caught Vince's comments after the USC game, but he kind of made some strong efforts to try and get you back. Saying he would take a bullet for you to come back. Did you have any conversations with him about leaving, and just what was his reaction if you did?
No, when the decision was made to leave, so I called Coach Chris first, and then right after that, I called Coach Miles. But then as soon as I did that, I knew, at this point it's going to get out. So Vince was my first call right after that. And so I was able to catch him, and I told him, and I know it was a little bit of a shock to him. And, it's hard, man. I don't really try not to get emotional and stuff, but it's hard not getting emotional with that guy. And I love Vince, and I have so much respect for him. So it was a difficult call, But I called as Joel Sojourn, talked to TJ Edwards, talked to Jack, talked to Leon, talked to Chris, talked to Chris Orrs, a couple guys, Chikwe, Alec James. So all those guys I have a lot of respect for, and I know they're going to do everything to beat LSU coming up. So it's going to be exciting.
So you knew during or before the game that you'd be going to LSU already, or had it happened? Did it all happen after the game?
Oh yeah, after. Yeah, okay. After the game. Yeah.
What did it mean to you just to have your last game? Not only be a win at Wisconsin, but see those guys play well against one of the best offenses in the nation, and kind of leave things that way.
It was awesome. I was talking to Coach Rudolph about that yesterday. About how that last game, I think just as a team, that was kind of us. You're able to see the offense when we needed them to step up. The offense stepped up. We needed the defense to make a stand. I thought the defense made a stand. You see Joel get kicked and bloodied up, and Joel steps right back in, making plays, and you see Robert stepping up, making plays, with that great catch. Man, it's just so cool. And I think that, I know that happens when you've got a tight family outfit. When your coaching staff is tight, your players are tight, they play for each other, and that's when you get guys stepping up like that. So it's pretty cool to see.
I don't want to get too much into your business, but everyone's seen now it's pretty much an offer you couldn't turn down. But how hard did Coach Alvarez and all the decision makers, I guess, try to get you to stay? What kind of battle was it like from their end?
I think I know they did. When I first called Coach Chris and said, "Hey, this is on the table," I know he and I talked for a while. He was great about working through all the angles with things, kind of looking at it, talking it through. There's been another, the last 2 years, I guess, really, but the month of December has been difficult the last 2 years, just in terms of options. It's a good difficult, I guess, but I've been on the other side of it to where you don't have any options, and you're waiting for an option. So you learn from that perspective that whenever there are options, you have to look at them. Just to be fair to your family, because like we say, there's going to be times where there's not going to be any. And so been quite a few, been blessed to have a bunch of options these last 2 years, and coach is great because once they come up, I talk to him about it right away, and he goes right through in his mind, the pros and cons. I'll give my pros and cons, and that's pretty unique, man. I don't believe there's a lot of relationships, I guess, where you're doing that with your head coach, And so I respect him for that and thank him for that, And so when we were talking about it, he's like, do you mind if I talk to Barry and let Barry know and see what he can do? And he said yes. He called right back and had some, about 50 minutes later, called back and had some options that are on the table. But, it's one of those things to where, there's the offer and the guarantees and things at where I'm going LSU is pretty difficult to beat.
I don't know if you've had much time to think about it, or maybe you'll try to put it in the back of your mind when it actually happens, but what do you think it's going to be like to face Wisconsin first game of 2016 and see guys like Vince, TJ, Chris, and Jack on the other sideline now?
No, yeah, I've thought about it a lot, believe me, yeah. It's the first thing I thought about. Now, I fully expect and fully and know in my heart that those guys are going to come hunting, and they will cause havoc and disruption, because that's what they do. They've been trained to do it, and their insides tell them to do it. And I'm gonna enjoy watching those guys, and I'm gonna enjoy seeing their development, because they're such great stories. Jack's a great story. TJ Edwards is a great story. Vince is a great story. And so when you know the kids and where they started to where they're at now, to how high of a ceiling they got to where they can go, that's just so cool. And so I'm their biggest fan. I'm looking forward to just seeing them compete.
Coach Tybesar is obviously going to get a look for to replace you because of his background. What are some of the strengths you think he brings to the table if he is your successor here?
No, he's great. I have a lot of respect for Coach Tibbs. He's very intelligent. He's very detail oriented. I know that when I think there's always a mesh with coaching philosophies and styles and things. I think when he came on board, I wanted to incorporate things that he has done. I know there's things that he's done that's different than what we have been doing, and so we're able to take some things, and some things we didn't. He was great with it, and I think that speaks really highly of him, to know what things fit, what things don't fit, and I know that he is in a really good spot to be able to implement his own system, and he's more than capable of. And so I learned a lot from Tibbs, and I got great respect for him, and so I'm pulling for him.
I think this is the first time you've jumped from one Power 5 to another, so maybe this situation hasn't come up before, but what's your policy on going after Wisconsin commits? I mean, is it kind of the thing you reach out to them no matter what, or do you wait to see if they contact you? Or I guess it might depend on how Coach Miles feels about it. But I guess, do you have any policy in terms of what you do there?
My thought is to not. I think people are different. I mean, I'm going to work for a boss, so I'm going to do whatever he says. But my thought would be to not do that. I think, I understand it's a business, definitely, but I would not. My instinct tells me not to do it, And right away, when all this happens, I wanted to, whether it was Twitter or whatever it was, try to reach out to the guys to let them know they're in a great spot in Wisconsin. And the future's bright. And coach is going to get someone great to lead the defense. And so I think that was important. So I tried to go get the guys anyways that I was associated with in terms of recruiting. And so you like to be able to see them continue on with who they got right now.
It sounded like a lot of, I know you don't have control over, when the news kind of breaks, but it sounds like, most of them didn't get a chance to talk to you before it happened, but, just what was kind of the overall reactions you got when talking to some of the guys?
No, it was positive. I think when all that's going down, I think that in my mind, I would think you want to be upfront, honest, and with the coaches that you're working with, number one, and then I would think the players that you've been coaching and you've been around every day. You want to get to them as fast as possible, which would be number two, and then three would be to get some of the recruits that you've been recruiting. And so, you wish you could do all that at one time, I guess, but that's really not possible. But when I did hear back from them, they were positive. The guys that did hit me back and wished me good luck and things. And so it's the business side of things. And so much of it is you're emphasizing the family part, which is very, very important, which is, I do believe, a big proponent of our big reason for our success. But then there is the business side of it too. And so sometimes that hits you right upside the head. I know I've been hit a few times that way too.
A big question that's come out of this is just, Wisconsin assistant coach pay. Now, I don't think anybody expects anybody in the Big Ten to do what the SEC is doing, but, in your opinion, not to take shots at, the program you're leaving, does Wisconsin need to step up what they're doing when you look at, not just yourself, but what guys across the board are being paid when you put that into perspective of, everybody else in the country and the Big Ten?
It's hard. I don't really have an opinion on that. I understand the question. I have nothing but the most respect for what Coach Alvarez did, how he treated me, and what he's done for me. When Coach Anderson left, and there was an opportunity to stay, and I know there was a feeling that for me, my family, that we wanted to stay. Coach Alvarez was instrumental in that. He really was. And so I'm very thankful for everything that he's done for me. And, I think it's just people are different and they're going to treat things differently. And I respect the way he's treated me.
How will you remember your time at Wisconsin, and, how would you describe the last 3 years here?
I think, first off, family. I know as excited as my family is to be moving on, or to see a new thing and to meet new people. We're getting Facebook back and forth from my wife and all my kids' friends back home, and her friends. And so I imagine I know that's going to be hard. Change always is. But I think right away a family. And I think of, having all the kids in the neighborhood in the backyard during the summertime. And I just remember seeing snow, a lot of snow in the wintertime, and, going sledding and stuff. And so just the family stuff I remember. And then the second thing would be just the players. Just the stories like we talked about, like a Jack Sitchie. So Jack wasn't even the 105 that first year. He got called up late. I think he was on the team for about 2 weeks, ended up playing in that first game. It's a special story. I mean, but there's a lot of them, Caputo, is a great story. Joe Schulbert's a great story. You know, that's just, you keep going on and on and on. So it's a special group of kids, and we'll miss them.
And then lastly, you know, I think it's fair to say you meant a lot to the program, and you know, a lot of the fans too, and you know, a lot of them, you know, could be having a tough time, you know, with the change. If you could sit down with all of them and just kind of give one last farewell message, you know, what would you kind of say to the fans who may be having a tough time seeing you go?
I would just say thank you for how you treated my family. I know my wife and my kids really, I mean, they're going to still be there now till June or something. So they really enjoyed the time and always felt welcome and always felt at home, you know. And so, what great people, what great fans. I know it's football is it's a crazy business. You never know how the game's going to go or how the ball's going to bounce. Whatever it was, good or bad, I go, you know, the Penn State game from a couple of years ago was just, gosh, man, it's right. It sounds, you know, I can't get it out of my head. The Ohio State game, can't get it out of my head. People always treat me fair after all that. So I appreciate it.